Good morning, ladies. I got some snacks for you. When people say what came first, the chicken or the egg, they really should be saying what came first, the chicken or the chicken egg, because there are actual fossils of eggs that don't have chickens. And if you're asking what came first, the chicken or the egg, obviously, scientifically, the egg came first. The egg has been here for a really long time. It's an age-old, tested, sturdy way to have babies. Chickens, however, they haven't been here as long. So, the question is, what came first, the chicken or the egg? The answer is the egg. If you're asking, what came first, the chicken or the chicken egg? Now that is a very good question. Sometimes I'll talk to people about my chickens when I'm at work, and they'll be like, how can you eat little babies? And I have to tell you that when you eat an egg, you're not eating a chicken's baby. You're actually eating a chicken's period. Chickens, they have eggs one time a day. Every 21 hours, they have eggs. Why are you pecking at me? I'm trying to be your friend. You're silly. You're a silly lady. Anyway, chickens lay eggs every 21 hours. And it's kind of like how people, human women, have periods every once a month. It's not fertile. It's just what happens. And it happens regularly. And I can't imagine basically giving birth every day and have it not be anything. That would be a nightmare. They do everything that we do when we have birth. They contract, they squish out something uncomfortable. It has to be really painful every day. That's one reason I'm glad I'm not a chicken, because I don't have to do that. But I got sidetracked. Eating a chicken egg isn't eating a chicken baby unless the person who gave you the egg also had a rooster, because hens need roosters to fertilize their eggs before they put the shell on. So there you go. You learned something new. It's a chicken period, not a chicken baby. Also, something I've heard people say is that the chick is the yolk of the egg, and that's not true either, because the baby and the egg, the embryo, it attaches to the yolk. The yolk is its food, and it withdraws, it soaks up the yolk before it hatches. So when you're eating the yolk part, you're not eating the baby part of the egg. I had a rooster recently. I had to get rid of him because my mother hen, my top hen, she's my white one with the fluffy head. She's a showgirl, satin showgirl. She was fighting with him because she didn't want him to mate her, and she didn't want him telling her what to do. And I had her much longer than I had him, so I had to get rid of him because he was really seriously hurting her. He was almost 2 feet tall, I think. I measured him. He was 5 months old, very, very large. And she's just this little tiny bantam chick that is probably no taller than a cinder block. And they were fighting and he was hurting her. But while he was here, he fertilized a whole bunch of eggs. And even the ones I'm getting now after I got rid of him, they're still fertile. I've been putting them in the incubator, and I've been candling them, and I see little babies out of it, and it's really cute, really cool. But the only eggs that aren't fertile are Lola's eggs, and I was very upset about it because I want a stinking Lola baby. I want a Lola baby. I want a chick that looks just like her because she's freaking adorable. I love Lola. She's my favorite chicken. And couldn't figure out why none of her eggs were fertile. And then I paid attention to the way they were mating, and they would get into a fight, and he would squish her and mate her, and she would yell at him and get all upset. And with the other hens, they liked him. She didn't like him very much, but they would do this little mating dance, and he would run and give them treats and snacks. He would actually pick up a piece of lettuce and run to a hen and put it down in front of the hen, and he would poof out his chest, all proud of himself. It was really cute. But he never did that with Lola, because one time he did it and she just scoffed at him and told him he was an idiot and walked away. His lettuce wasn't good enough for her. But I did some research on the way chickens work, and they've got these little pockets in their backsides, and the pockets hold the sperm so that she can distribute it to her eggs however long she wants. I read one mating goes at least 4 weeks worth of eggs, so she can hold on to his sperm for 4 weeks and fertilize every single egg she lays. She lays 1 egg a day for 4 weeks. That's a lot of babies that he just made with that one mating. But here's the catch. The interesting thing is that chickens, if they find the male unsuitable, they can expel his sperm and not use it. And I just think, wouldn't that be cool if people could do that? Like, think of all the problems that would be solved if we could just expel the sperm we don't want from an unsuitable male. There would be hardly any debate about abortion. I'm sure there would be some. But the movie plots and TV shows would be completely different. We wouldn't have that history of like women having to become hidden in other towns because they got pregnant unexpectedly. You know, we wouldn't have to take birth control, which millions of women have trouble with birth control, me included. And some people are allergic to it. They almost die. Why are you being a silly? Anyway, I think that would be cool if we could be a little bit more like chickens, just in that way. I think that different mating rituals of different animals is incredibly odd if you think about it. Now, I'm trying to keep the topic on chickens, but I'm a little ADHD, so I'm gonna get off the beaten track for a moment and talk about animals mating. First of all, let's talk about the mating rituals of bald eagles. I don't know if this is like accurate, but you know how you're scrolling through Facebook and you read different things and you're like, that's weird. So bald eagles, when they mate, they fly at each other at a very fast rate, and then they interlock their little claws, their feet, and they hold on to each other, and they mate in the air while they're falling. And the male has to finish before they hit the ground or they die. I just think that would be incredibly exhilarating to just be 100 feet off the ground and fall. And that's like a huge challenge for that male. Like, finish or die, finish or die. I don't know. That's weird. Never mind. Maybe I'll cut this out. I don't know. Another thing I heard about is anglerfish. And anglerfish, they just creep me out. I think they look really cool, but the way they mate really creeps me out. And here's why. Because anglerfish females are the really big ones that you see that have like all of the bells and whistles and they're really cool looking. The females are bigger than the males. The males are like very, very small compared to the females. And the way they mate is when the male is ready to impregnate, I guess he's not impregnating her, but you know what I mean. When a male is ready, he finds the female that he can get along with for the rest of his life, and he bites her. And then he turns into this little mole on her body. He basically just dissolves. And he turns into this mole on her body, and he just is a part of her for forever. And he just distributes the sperm into her body whenever she wants, she'll be like, hey, I need you. And he'll be like, all right. And that's his life. He's just a mole on his wife's butt that gives her sperm every once in a while. Now, I'm really glad we're not anglerfish because I don't want any moles on my butt, especially if they were once men. I don't know about you, but that just makes me a little bit uncomfortable. And the weirdest thing is that they don't just have one mole on their butt. Oh no. The most desirable anglerfish females, they have many, many males choosing them to be their mate. And then they attach to her butt also. And she's just this huge walking mole butt with like lots of lumps. And this is the prettiest thing. It's desirable. And she can go to any of them that she wants and choose whoever she wants the sperm from. And she just says, hey, Joe, I want you today. Can you please impregnate my eggs? And this is the life of the male. I feel like it would be so sad to be a male anglerfish. Be glad you're a man human if you're a male and you're listening, because life could be much worse. You could be a male anglerfish. Your future could be nothing but living as a mole on someone's butt. Just be glad. Be happy. This is your motivational speech right here. If you're at work one day and your boss is being a jerk and you're just like, I can't live with these coworkers anymore. I'm gonna burn this place to the ground. And your house is being foreclosed and your wife is cheating on you. Just think, it could be worse. I could be a male anglerfish. A lot of people ask me why I put this tree in my coop, and I have to tell them that it's for the chickens to roost on because they really like roosting in high places. And I've had people be like, I've had people say, why are the branches up so high? Because chickens can't fly. And I have to tell them, yes, chickens can fly. Chickens can fly over my 6-foot brick wall. They can fly. They can't fly like pigeons or finches. They can't like take flight and leave to be off in the world, but they can fly at least up to 6 feet that I know of, because they can fly up to the top of my fence. So, you never know. Chickens can fly. I lost my train of thought here. Sometimes people, they tell me that I need a rooster to have eggs, and they'll be like, oh, I don't want chickens because the rooster's too loud and it crows every morning. And I say, I don't have a rooster. And they say, I thought you said you had eggs. And I'm like, I do get eggs. You are so loud. You're so silly. Why are you so loud? You don't need a rooster for chickens to lay eggs. They don't need to hear the rooster crow to start magically laying eggs. Can you imagine, like, when it's too cold or too hot, chickens don't lay eggs? Can you imagine if you could just get a rooster's crow and play it, and then the hens magically start laying their eggs during the winter? That would be crazy. We would have way less problems with our poultry, let me tell you. So, you don't need a rooster for a chicken to lay eggs in the same way that you don't need a male human to have a period every month. It's the same thing. I could be wrong. I mean, I'm not a huge scientist. I'm not a professional. I just have a small backyard flock. But, I mean, it's just common sense. If you want to get a backyard flock, but you don't want to because you don't want the loud rooster crowing, you don't have to have a rooster crowing all the time. You can just have hens and you still have eggs. It's fine. It's funny how chickens know each other. I read something that chickens can recognize over 100 faces even after months apart, which makes sense because A little while ago, I hatched out some chicks for my sister, and I gave them to her, and she had them for a couple of months, and I went up there to visit her, and they came up to me like it was no big deal, and they remembered who I was, which is really cool. But like normally, chickens that I don't know don't come up to me, but they'll come up to their owner. But 100 faces, that is really cool. They remember things. I read that they have like similar memories to humans. Like they can remember people, and they remember if they're nice or they're mean. I know that I had a friend who had chickens, and the kids would chase the chickens and be mean to them, and she wouldn't. She would feed them, and they would run up to her and say hello to her in the morning and greet her and be happy to see her. But then when the kids came into the backyard, they would run away and they would want nothing to do with the kids. I think that's pretty cool. And I think it's cool that chickens know what dogs are mean and what dogs are part of their family. Like they recognize people. Same with cats. It's pretty cool. I think it's cool how they have excellent memories. They did a lot of studies on chickens and the way their brain works, and it's pretty cool because like chickens can actually dream, is what they've found out. They dream like people can, and not only do they dream like people, but some people dream in only black and white. A majority of the people dream in only black and white. And I say this, there are a lot of psychologists out there who say that people don't dream in color, but I have met people who dream in color, and I've had colorful dreams, and I've had someone say, well, that's just you remembering it in color afterwards. Well, how do you know that people dream, that every person dreams in black and white? There are neurodivergent people who have their brains work so differently. How do they know? Because they haven't studied every single human being. And there are weird genetics that pop up that we don't know about. Biology changes all the time. Biology is miraculous. It's not a set thing. That's why they can't say, oh, that's impossible, because they say that's impossible, and then all of a sudden they find a giant squid in the bottom of the ocean when they were like, oh, then giant squids don't exist. You know what? Anything in biology is possible. It's miraculous, it's crazy, and even things that you don't think can happen, they happen. And I'm talking in circles right now because that's what I do. You gotta live with it. I lost my train of thought again. See, this is what I do. Chicken dreaming. I'd like to know how they know the chickens dream. Okay? Because what are they doing? Like sticking little electrodes to the chicken's head and being like, thank you, Mrs. Egerton, for joining our sleep study this evening. I can picture a whole bunch of little chickens with little electrodes hooked up just in this little scientific lab, and they're all in their own little beds tucked in, and they have this scientist behind the glass just monitoring their sleep patterns as they sleep all peacefully. And then like a chicken wakes up and she's like, I'd like a drink of water, and he has to bring her water because he's the scientist. He has to make the chickens feel comfortable. What are they doing to study these chickens' sleep patterns? I genuinely want to know. I mean, I think it would be cool to see. I wish I would see that in a movie. A whole bunch of chickens just sleeping and being studied. You know what I heard? What I read. I didn't hear it. People aren't talking about chickens as much as I am. But scientists discovered during these sleep studies, I guess, that chickens not only have a REM sleep like people have, and REM sleep is like, what does it stand for? Rapid eye movement or something. Anyway, the REM sleep is when people dream. So not only do chickens go through a REM cycle during their sleep, but they stepped up their game. They do something cool that people don't do. They have a sleep phase called USWS. I don't know what it stands for. You can make something up if you want, but this is where only half of their brain sleeps while the other half is awake, which is really cool. I can't even fathom being asleep and awake at the same time. I mean, like, can you imagine having a dream about whatever and then also being awake at the same time and seeing what's going on around you? They can actually open their eye for that part of the brain that's awake and see what's going on. How do they not mix reality and dream world? How does that work? I just don't know. It is so weird. I can't even fathom it. I can't wrap my brain around it. How do they? I just don't even know. My brain just runs around in circles when I think about it. I can't comprehend it. But I read this other thing, that chickens can comprehend object permanence, which is really interesting because when I was taking my human development psychology classes, I learned that humans, like little babies, they don't learn object permanence until they're like 7 months old. Oh, I should probably tell you what object permanence is, because you probably didn't take the same classes I did. If you did, cool, good for you. They're pretty fun, they're pretty interesting. So object permanence is when you take a toy and you put a blanket over it, and someone knows that that toy is still under that blanket. When you're a baby, babies don't realize that that object is still under that blanket. A lot of animals, if you cover something up, they don't realize it's still there. Dogs, they know something's still there because they can smell it. And I think it's the same with cats. But chickens actually remember, and that's something that is almost unique to people and a few other animals. It's interesting. I feel like if you watch chickens, they look so much like dinosaurs. And I feel like I just have a whole bunch of little velociraptors running around. Like, they look like raptors. Little raptors. Just picking at each other. Anyway, I don't know. My cousin sent me this thing on Facebook that I just looked at, and she was asking, why do the chickens stop in the middle of the road? And I don't really have time to respond right now, so I'll tell myself I'll do it later, but I'll most likely forget. So if she's listening, I'm sorry if I've forgotten, but I thought it was cool. And then I started thinking, like, how long have these chicken and the road jokes been told? And I looked it up, and the first "Why did the chicken cross the road" joke was printed in New York Magazine in 1847. And I read this, 1847, that was a significantly long time ago. People have been telling the exact same joke for hundreds of years. We need more chicken jokes, okay? We need more creative, unique chicken jokes. All of you comedians out there, this is your task. Invent more chicken jokes, okay? 1, 2, 3, go. Rosie likes to lay a lot of double yolk eggs, and a double yolk egg is when there's 2 yolks in an egg. It's basically like a person having twins. I think it's cool how she has double yolkers, but I feel bad because it's always a bigger egg, and I don't know how she's pushing those things out. I just think it would hurt so bad. Rosie's my little Rhode Island Red. Her daddy was a Rhode Island Red, and her mommy was an Easter egger, so she lays these really pretty green eggs. But she lays double yolkers a lot. And then I started wondering I've seen videos of like people cracking open eggs on my chicken group, and there will be 3, 4, 5 yolks, and they'll be huge. Those eggs will be like the size of your hand. And I was wondering, like, how many yolks can possibly be in an egg? Because I've seen that video where the person opens up the egg and then like 60 yolks pretty much fall out, and I think that's a fake video. I don't believe it. But I looked it up, and the record for the most yolks in one egg is 9. And I think that's crazy. Can you imagine incubating a 9 yolk egg? What would that do? Would you have, I don't think you would have 9 chicks come out of one egg. So I was wondering if I could incubate one of Rosie's double yolk eggs. And I don't think I will, because I did some research on it, and you can incubate a double yolked egg, but it usually doesn't hatch. They very rarely hatch. Sometimes one chick will hatch after absorbing the dead body of its twin. What was I saying? I forgot. Sometimes the chick, they'll like, the bigger one will absorb the littler one. He'll like kill it, and then he'll be like, I need this, and then he'll absorb it. Only one chick will hatch, even if you have a double yolk or egg. Sometimes, like, they'll hatch and one will be dead and one will be alive. That would be terrible, don't you think, to like be stuck in an egg, like a small compartment with your sibling, your dead sibling, just rotting. I mean, I bet that chick would hatch with terrible PTSD and just all kinds of mental problems. I, for one, would not like to be trapped in a small space with my dead sibling while she was rotting. That would be uncomfortable for me. And I know chickens have way better memories than we do, because chickens, the babies, they can recognize their mother's cluck and her voice and her speech patterns, because they can hear her when they're in the egg. They know her when they hatch. That's amazing to me. So you know that they have to remember what's going on in that egg when they're in the egg. So they're in there with their dead sibling and they know it. It's terrible. And I know that chickens understand death too, because sometimes, like, you'll walk out in the morning and there will be a dead chicken. Sometimes chickens just die and there's no reason, and they show no signs. And it's sad, and it just happens. And if I could figure out why, I would totally, prevent it from happening. Sometimes it happens, not a lot. I'm getting sidetracked again. Anyway, they know when someone has died because they sit and they put their wings over them and they mourn them. And unless they didn't like that chicken, then they just leave it and pretend like nothing's happening, which I've seen too. But if there's like a loved chicken that everybody loves, like the mother hen or whatever, they'll put little presents around the dead chicken. They'll sit with the dead chicken. They'll fluff the dead chicken's feathers and try to make it look more presentable. They do pretty much what we do with our dead. They make it look more presentable. They put all their loved things in the coffin with that person. They're like elephants, chickens are. I'm sorry. Sometimes people that have chickens, they tell me that I'm seeing something that's not there because their chickens have never done that with a dead chicken. But I am telling you, I have seen it. And maybe those people's chickens just don't like each other very much. Maybe. That's what I'm going to say about that. I lost my train of thought again. What was I talking about? Oh, anyway, yeah, so if a double yolked egg hatches, man, this is a long story. If a double yolked egg hatches, usually it's just the one chick. I have heard of one instance where a double yolked egg hatched with 2 chicks, but one chick was very weak and it didn't live for very long and it died. I'm not gonna incubate any of my double yolked eggs because I just feel like it would be a waste of time. I just saw one of my chickens doing something that was very dinosaur-like, and I remembered I had looked up the other day where chickens came from, like where they are descended, and they're actually, this is the study that they've done, the scientists, guys. They actually think that chickens are the oldest living, the chickens are the closest living relatives of the T-Rex. Isn't that crazy? So you have this huge monstrous thing that has no arms and just runs after things and kills them, and it's probably the scariest creature in Jurassic Park that I remember. When I watched that movie when I was a kid, that T-Rex scared the crap out of me, especially in the second one when that T-Rex was like hunting them down because they took her baby. Oh my gosh. They went from that to these little jerks. Isn't that cool? I think that's cool. And I can totally see it because if you mess with a chicken's baby, she'll get you, man. She will. She'll eat you. If she's a good mom. Sometimes you have bad moms and they'll eat their own babies, so. What was that? What is it, Lola? What's going on? You're a silly lady. Yes, you are. She's getting old. It makes me sad. Poor little girl. All old and stuff. I guess she's not too old. She's like 4 or 5. So, that's not... I read that the oldest living chicken is 16 years old, I think. So, compared to that, she's not too old. But she hasn't been laying for the last couple days, which isn't like chickens go and they don't lay, and she's been kind of becoming broody lately. But she's getting old, and it makes me sad because when chickens get old, it means they won't be with you for a long time. You guys are fast. Anyway, chickens are really fast. People don't realize how fast chickens are. They can run 9 miles an hour. I don't know how fast is that compared to a cheetah. Let me look it up. So cheetahs can run, oh, okay, well, they run nowhere near as fast as a cheetah. Cheetahs can run 50 miles per hour, according to this, and chickens run 9 miles. How fast does a human run? Let me see. The fastest running human in history, in recorded history, is 27 miles an hour. So, chickens run half as fast as the fastest running man. Excuse me? No, that is my chair. You don't sit in it because you poop. I don't want to sit and poop. Thank you very much. Lola, are you getting cold? It's cute that chickens groom each other. This little Anaconda is a younger one, and she's being a little bit rough with her grooming. And Lola's older, and she's telling her, don't be so rough with your grooming. So, anyway, that is my whole chicken spiel for this morning. I hope you enjoyed, and have a good day. It's something new. They have to investigate everything that's new and look at it intently.